What if I told you that the entire concept of grinding, like that whole ubiquitous hustle culture, is literally neurologically counterproductive to achieving disproportionate success?
Wait, counterproductive? Like doing less is the secret to, I don't know, becoming a billionaire? Because if so, Luna, I will literally sign up right now.
I mean, I wish it were that simple, right? But no, I'm saying the sheer cognitive load of perpetually grinding actually degrades your executive function. Oh, and welcome back to English Pod Center, everyone.
Yeah, welcome back. But hold on, backtrack. Degrades executive function? Are you basically saying that hard work makes you dumber?
Paradoxically, yes. It severely narrows your attentional aperture. You get locked into this rigid tunnel vision.
Okay, so is that like, when I'm frantically cramming for a deadline and I literally forget, like, my own PIN number?
Exactly. That is a textbook manifestation of cognitive tunneling, and it's the exact antithesis of how genuinely successful people operate.
Right, because they just, sit around on a yacht manifesting wealth with, like, quartz crystals?
No, Lucas, there are absolutely no manifestation crystals involved here. It's rooted in cognitive flexibility. The underlying psychology of success isn't about sheer volumetric output. It's about perception calibration.
Perception calibration. Okay, you're throwing out the $5 words today. Break that down for me because I am officially lost.
Okay, think of it like, imagine you're an air traffic controller, right?
Stressful job. Go on.
Incredibly stressful. Now, if you hyperfixate, like you only stare at one single plane on the radar because you're working hard to land it, what happens?
I assume the other planes crash into each other?
Precisely. Catastrophic failure. When you grind endlessly, your brain acts like that hyperfixated controller. You miss the serendipitous peripheral opportunities.
Oh, wow. Okay. So by focusing too hard on the microscopic details of success, you obliterate the macroscopic strategy.
Literally, yes. That's the dichotomy of productive struggle versus what psychologists call idiosyncratic cognitive flexibility.
Idiosyncratic. Wow. Okay. But wait, if grinding is so detrimental, why is it the universal default? Like everyone from, my middle school basketball coach to Elon Musk preaches hard work.
Because it's a very seductive heuristic. It's
a heuristic? Like a mental shortcut?
Exactly, a mental shortcut. It's a tangible metric. We can't easily measure, strategic epiphanies, but we can measure hours spent sitting at a desk.
Right. So it's easier to say, I worked 14 hours today, than to admit you spent 2 hours thinking brilliantly and 12 hours just aggressively answering emails.
Yes, aggressively answering emails is the perfect way to put it. It creates this illusion of momentum.
Okay, but wait, surely you need some grit, right? You can't just philosophize your way to a Fortune 500 company.
Of course you need grit, but the literature, specifically looking at attribution theory, shows a massive divergence between blind persistence and strategic quitting.
Strategic quitting. That sounds like an oxymoron. Or just an excuse for me giving up on learning French last year.
No, your French phase was just a lack of discipline, Lucas. But strategic quitting is.
Hey, that was uncalled for. But seriously, explain the quitting thing.
So, highly successful individuals possess this incredibly calibrated internal locus of control. They know exactly when a pursuit yields diminishing returns.
So they don't succumb to the sunk cost fallacy. Like, oh, I've already invested 3 years into this terrible business model, better stick it out.
Bingo! They pivot ruthlessly, whereas the average person, hindered by that grind set mentality, equates pivoting with moral failure.
Geez, moral failure. That hits deep. Because we're socially conditioned to view quitting as a cardinal sin, right?
We really are. It's deeply ingrained in our cultural ethos. But neurologically speaking, pivoting requires immense neuroplasticity.
Wait, so rewriting your goals actively builds different pathways in the brain?
Yes! Every time you detach your ego from a failing methodology and synthesize a new approach, you're literally rewiring your prefrontal cortex.
That is actually mind-blowing. So success isn't a straight line, it's more like navigating a labyrinth in the dark?
A labyrinth where the walls occasionally move, yeah.
Great, that sounds terrifying. So how do you even develop this perception calibration? Is it innate?
That's the fundamental debate, right? Nature versus nurture. But cognitive behavioral research vehemently argues that it is a cultivated skill.
Cultivated. Okay, so I can learn it. I'm not doomed to be a hyper-fixated air traffic controller forever.
You are not doomed, but it requires dismantling your psychological scaffolding. You have to stop romanticizing the struggle.
Romanticizing the struggle. Man, that is so prevalent though. You go on LinkedIn or, any social media, and it's all just people bragging about sleep deprivation.
It's performance art, Lucas. It's performative masochism.
Performative masochism. Wow, that is the most brutally accurate description I've ever heard.
Right? Because if success were intrinsically tied to pure labor, the hardest working demographic, like, say, construction workers or single mothers, would be billionaires.
Oh, true. And they emphatically are not. So the correlation between physical exertion and astronomical success is fundamentally flawed.
Flawed and empirically false. The real delineator is cognitive leverage. It's how you perceive and synthesize asymmetrical risks.
Asymmetrical risks, meaning risks where the downside is tiny but the upside is astronomical?
Exactly. The psychological prerequisite for spotting those risks is an unburdened mind. You need cognitive white space.
White space? Like literal time to just sit and stare at a wall?
Essentially, yes. Bill Gates famously used to take think weeks. He would seclude himself in a cabin just to read and process.
Wait. So you're telling me the richest guys on the planet are literally locking themselves in a cabin to do nothing but ponder?
Not nothing. They are engaging their default mode network. It's a specific neurological state where lateral thinking occurs.
The default mode network. I think I've heard of that. Is that what kicks in when you're taking a shower and suddenly realize the solution to a massive problem?
Yes, the fabled shower thought. That happens because your prefrontal cortex, the grinding, executing part of your brain, finally relaxes.
So it lets the subconscious interject with the actual brilliant ideas?
Exactly. But if you never step away from the grind, if you never allow for that ephemeral white space,
you literally block your own brilliance. Wow, okay, I feel personally attacked by this entire conversation.
It's a paradigm shift for sure, but recognizing it is the first catalyst for actual neurocognitive restructuring.
Okay, I need to know exactly how to restructure my brain, right now. How do we actually build this cognitive weight space?
Okay, so first things first, Lucas. You have to literally engineer boredom into your daily.
Engineer boredom? Seriously, Luna, if I'm bored for even 3 seconds, I'm reaching for my phone.
Exactly. And that's the precise behavioral pathology we need to dismantle. We abhor a vacuum.
We abhor a vacuum, right. Okay, but it's physically painful.
It feels that way because you're in a perpetual state of dopamine dependency.
Okay, ouch. Call me out, why don't you?
Listen, think of your brain's working memory like a computer's RAM, right?
Yeah, random access memory, the short-term storage.
Exactly. If you have 84 tabs open in your browser.
Which I literally do right now. Don't look at my laptop.
Right. So what happens to the overall processing speed of the machine?
The fans start screaming like a jet engine and the whole system inevitably freezes.
Precisely. Your cognitive bandwidth is completely monopolized by maintaining those concurrent, superficial tasks.
Wow, okay, so checking emails while listening to a podcast, while, simultaneously cooking dinner,
is catastrophic for profound ideation. You're radically fragmenting your attention.
So we need to, defragment the biological hard drive?
That is actually a shockingly astute analogy, Lucas. Yes.
Hey, I have my moments. The default mode network is working.
It is. So step one in this neurological restructuring is what cognitive psychologists call scheduled non-reactivity.
Scheduled non-reactivity. Wait, define that because it sounds like a fancy excuse to ignore my boss's Slack messages.
I mean, in a way, it kind of is. It essentially means intentionally carving out a block of time where you are entirely impervious to external stimuli.
Okay, literally zero inputs.
No inputs, no podcasts, well, except ours, obviously. No music, no screens.
Wait, no music? Not even lo-fi atmospheric beats to study to?
No, because even ambient music requires subliminal auditory processing. It occupies RAM.
Geez, okay, that sounds excruciatingly boring.
It is initially, because the withdrawal kicks in. Your neurochemistry is just screaming for a quick, cheap dopamine hit.
Right, the irresistible urge to doom scroll.
Yes, but if you can withstand that initial cognitive friction, usually it takes about 10 to 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
The prefrontal cortex finally relinquishes control. It basically throws its hands up and says, okay, fine. There are no immediate threats or tasks to execute.
And that's when the magic happens.
That is when the default mode network illuminates on an fMRI scan.
Oh, wow. So it literally lights up?
Like a Christmas tree. And suddenly, your brain starts synthesizing incredibly disparate pieces of information.
Disparate pieces, like connecting two concepts that didn't previously seem related at all?
Precisely. It's called lateral thinking. It's fundamentally why you cannot force a brilliant marketing strategy while intensely staring at an Excel spreadsheet.
Because the spreadsheet is forcing vertical thinking, like highly sequential, logical, rigid processing?
Boom. Exactly. You're trying to inadvertently extract raw creativity from the analytical hemisphere.
It's like asking a highly trained military sniper to paint a delicate watercolor landscape.
Okay, that is a slightly terrifying but incredibly vivid analogy, Lucas.
Well, I try, but it makes total sense. You're utilizing the completely wrong cognitive apparatus for the desired outcome.
Exactly. And it's a profound realization when it clicks.
Okay, so let me just process this. To actually achieve high-tier elite success, we have been ruthlessly culturally conditioned to believe that we must optimize every single waking second.
The quintessential hustle culture fallacy. Grind until you die.
Right, but the empirical neuroscientific reality is completely paradoxical to that.
Completely. The most historically prolific innovators deliberately cultivate an environment of absolute, unapologetic nothingness.
Okay, so give me a practical framework. If someone listening is like, okay, Luna, you've convinced me.
Yeah.
How do I actually implement this without getting fired from my corporate job or going clinically insane?
Start with microdoses of sensory deprivation.
Microdoses of... Wait, like sitting in a pitch black closet?
No. I mean, unless you really want to. But I mean literally just taking a 20-minute walk entirely without your phone.
No phone on a walk. Luna, what if there's an unprecedented global emergency?
Lucas, when was the last time there was a legitimate life or death emergency while you were casually strolling around the block?
I mean... Okay, fair point. Literally never, but the psychological tether to the device is so insanely strong.
Exactly. That tether is exactly what you are attempting to sever. Just 20 minutes. Let the thoughts ricochet.
Wow. Okay, I'm actually going to legitimately try this tomorrow. But wait, what about the psychological aspect of actually executing these brilliant ideas once you have them?
Okay, so that is the absolute crux of it, right? The execution gap.
Yeah, because I have like 47 million ideas in my notes app right now.
Right, the proverbial graveyard of human potential.
Hey, I'm going to execute them eventually.
Sure you will, Lucas. But scientifically speaking, the reason we don't execute is because of severe cognitive overload.
Cognitive overload? Wait, so I'm just too intellectually gifted for my own good?
No, definitely not that. It's more like, okay, imagine your brain is a grumpy, overworked air traffic controller.
Okay, I am vividly picturing a guy with a mustache and a massive coffee mug.
Perfect. And you've got 50 massive airplanes, which are your brilliant ideas, circling the airport, all screaming for clearance to land simultaneously.
Oh, geez, that sounds incredibly stressful.
Right? So what does the controller do? He panics. He basically just shuts down the runway entirely.
Paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. It's a fundamental heuristic failure. You literally cannot decide which sequential step to take first, so you default to doing absolutely nothing, or worse, endlessly scrolling TikTok.
Okay, wow, I feel incredibly attacked right now.
It's universal, I promise. To rectify it, you have to bypass the controller entirely, using what psychologists call implementation intentions.
Implementation intentions. Wait, is this that if-then contingency planning thing?
Yes, Peter Gallwitzer's research from like the late 90s. It's wildly efficacious.
So it's basically just scheduling? Like I will do X at Y time?
Well, kind of, but way more hyper-specific. It's essentially preloading a behavioral response.
Preloading, like software?
Literally, yes. You're programming a neurological macro for your brain.
Okay, wait, I don't get it. Give me an example, like a tangible one, not a metaphorical airplane.
Okay, let's take your hypothetical podcast idea from the Notes app.
Not hypothetical, Luna. It's gonna be huge. True crime, but for stolen historical artifacts.
Okay, Indiana Jones. So instead of saying, I'm going to rigorously research my podcast this weekend, which is incredibly vague, you cultivate an if-then contingency. If it is 9 a.m. on Saturday and I have finished my coffee, then I will sit at the oak desk and meticulously outline episode 1 for exactly 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, I see. So it's almost like you're completely removing the friction of decision-making.
Precisely. The air traffic controller doesn't have to dynamically calculate anything. The predetermined schedule just automatically dictates the landing.
Because the environmental cue, like the empty coffee cup, acts as the catalyst.
Ding, ding, ding. It bypasses your prefrontal cortex's insidious tendency to procrastinate because the executive decision was already finalized yesterday.
Wait, that actually makes an absurd amount of sense. Because whenever I sit down to work on a weekend, I legitimately spend like 45 minutes just deliberating on which folder to open.
Yes, that cognitive friction is absolutely lethal to momentum.
Lethal. Wow. Okay, but what happens when, unpredictable life happens? Like the dog uncontrollably throws up on the rug at 8:59 a.m.
Then you seamlessly implement a secondary contingency. It's a framework called coping planning.
Coping planning. That sounds incredibly depressing, actually.
It's not. It's just pragmatically anticipating ubiquitous obstacles. So if the dog ruins the rug, then I will sanitize it and commence my 20 minutes immediately after, regardless of the time.
Right. You're essentially constructing an impregnable psychological safety net for your own procrastination.
Exactly. Because longitudinal success isn't about perpetual unbroken discipline. It's about cultivating systemic resilience.
Systemic resilience. I genuinely love that phrase. It makes me feel substantially less guilty about the hypothetical rug.
Well, the rug is merely collateral damage in the relentless pursuit of greatness.
Oh, rip the rug. But seriously, this inextricably ties back to that whole, what did we call it earlier? The dopamine baseline? Yes, the dopamine baseline. If you rely purely on spontaneous motivation, which is incredibly volatile, you will inevitably fail.
Because motivation is it's an ephemeral feeling. It dramatically spikes and inevitably crashes.
Right, but a meticulously designed system, a pre-programmed implementation intention, that doesn't care how lethargic you feel.
It's like, okay, remember the grumpy waiter analogy from the very first episode?
Oh my God, yes. The apathetic waiter who just automatically brings you whatever you ordered yesterday?
Exactly. You just formally put the order in the system and it autonomously shows up. You don't have to endlessly renegotiate with yourself every single morning.
Renegotiating with yourself is the unequivocal #1 killer of monumental success.
Man, that hits phenomenally hard. Renegotiating with yourself.
Think about it. Maybe I'll just sleep in. Maybe I'll definitively do it tomorrow. That's internal negotiation.
And the house fundamentally always wins.
Always. So let's actually facilitate a quick cognitive exercise for the listeners right now.
Ooh, yes, homework, but like the psychologically stimulating kind.
Exactly. I want absolutely everyone listening to isolate one specific goal they've been perpetually procrastinating on.
Like the 47 million stagnant ideas in my digital graveyard.
Yes, just select one, Lucas, and articulate a hyper-specific if-then paradigm for tomorrow morning.
If X explicitly happens, then I will unequivocally do Y for Z amount of minutes.
Precisely. Make it stupidly simple, so microscopically small you literally cannot fail to execute it.
Okay, challenge officially accepted. But wait, what if they actually execute the system perfectly and then just utterly fail at the actual task itself?
Oh, well, that is the absolute best part, Lucas.
Wait, failing? Failing is the best part? Are you genuinely a masochist?
No. I mean, intrinsically, yes, it feels atrocious. But cognitively, it's indispensable data.
Data, right, because my crushed ego is basically just a spreadsheet.
Literally, yes.
Look, if you meticulously execute the if-then protocol and you still crash and burn,
Which, let's be entirely candid, is highly probable for me.
which is statistically probable for a novice, yes, then you haven't failed at the habit. You merely identified an operational deficiency.
An operational. Okay, explain that like I'm 5, or maybe like I'm a slightly intellectually challenged golden retriever.
Okay, think of machine learning algorithms.
Oh, great. We're doing AI analogies now.
Bear with me. When an algorithm plays chess and gets instantaneously obliterated by a grandmaster, it doesn't sit in the corner and question its inherent self-worth, right?
I mean, as far as we know, maybe it's virtually crying.
It just recalibrates the parameters. It goes, executing move X when the bishop is at Y resulted in a catastrophic loss.
So I will categorically abstain from doing that specific thing again.
Precisely. Humans, however, synthesize failure as an indictment of their character.
Oh, wow, wait, that is actually incredibly profound.
Right? We conflate the event with our identity.
So instead of saying my strategy was fundamentally flawed, we just say I am an unequivocal failure of a human being.
Exactly, which triggers the exact same internal negotiation we discussed earlier.
Oh, the house always wins thing.
Yes, the brain uses the ego bruise to vehemently argue against trying again tomorrow.
Jeez, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of mediocrity.
It is. So, to circumvent that cognitive trap, you literally have to gamify the failure.
Gamify it. Okay, give me an actionable example because my digital graveyard is demanding a resurrection.
Okay, so let's revisit the digital graveyard. Say your goal was to consistently write code for 15 consecutive minutes.
Right. If coffee is poured, then I sit at the keyboard.
Right. You pour the coffee, you sit, and then you just inexplicably stare at a blank screen and subsequently panic.
Ah, yes, my Tuesday mornings.
Instead of abandoning the endeavor, you conduct a micro-autopsy on the failure.
A micro-autopsy. That sounds simultaneously morbid and fascinating.
You dissect it. Was the environment too distracting? Was the linguistic syntax too advanced? Did you lack caffeine?
So you meticulously isolate the variable that precipitated the collapse.
Yes, and then you implement a microscopic adjustment for the subsequent iteration.
Huh. So it's not about cultivating this mythical, unwavering discipline.
No, discipline is arguably a superficial concept here.
It's essentially just relentless, unemotional iteration.
You hit the nails squarely on the head, Lucas. Success is fundamentally just a byproduct of exhausting all your incorrect assumptions.
Exhausting your incorrect assumptions. Man, I need that embroidered on a decorative pillow or something.
It's true, though. You just systematically eliminate the friction points.
So the psychology of success isn't about being inherently extraordinary. Not in the slightest. It's about having the cognitive resilience to just analytically observe your own incompetence until you're marginally less incompetent.
That is perhaps the most eloquently cynical way to summarize cognitive behavioral adaptation, yes?
Hey, I take pride in my eloquent cynicism.
I think we've profoundly dismantled the entire illusion of the self-made genius today.
Yeah, we've definitively established that we're all basically just recalibrating algorithms fumbling in the dark.
With slightly more existential dread, but yes.
Okay, so before we wrap up this wonderfully existential deep dive,
Right, the final provocation for the audience.
Yes, Luna, what is the ultimate parting challenge for the listeners today?
Okay, when you inevitably fail at your if-then implementation this week,
Notice she said when, not if, folks.
I want you to proactively identify the exact variable that sabotaged you and adjust it by 10% tomorrow.
Just 10%, no dramatic overhauls.
Zero drama, just empirical data.
I love it. Be the algorithm, people. And listen, if you derived even an iota of value from our psychological ramblings today,
Please categorically obliterate that subscribe button.
exactly. Follow English Pod Center for more unsolicited cognitive autopsies, and we will unequivocally catch you in the next one.